Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Platinum Achievements. Today's date at the time of recording is February 10th. As always, I'm Ray, and I am tired. We had a full night's sleep last night. Sammy was staying at my mom's. He's been having sort of like a mix of a sleep regression and some teeth coming in. So, oh boy, it's been a fun week. I think a couple days ago, I took the brunt of watching him for my wife during the night, and I didn't bring my phone because I didn't want to get blasted with any lights in my eyes, didn't want to risk him seeing it, but also I just didn't want to know what time it was. I just wanted to assume that he was only up for like an hour or something, and if anyone's been in a similar situation, I don't want to know how much time I have until I have to get up for work, because then I'm just going to get anxious. So I'll just go to sleep and be tired. That was my thought process. And it worked. I did go to sleep and I was tired. So that aside, I'm recording this pretty early in the morning because he's still at my mom's. Amanda's out of the house. My father-in-law's out of the house. I can be as loud as I want to, but probably won't because I don't want to blow your ears out any more than I probably already have. Okay, so let's begin with updates on trophies and achievements. Still at the same count for trophies: 95 platinum, 632 gold, 842 silver, and 2012 bronze. I haven't really gone back to PlayStation in the past week. I've been mostly focusing on some Xbox games. We're obviously going to talk about some Xbox stuff coming up. If you haven't seen the title, let me just get through this app. Microb, get over to my achievements. Where we is? All right, so currently we are at 674,850 gamer score. That is a mix of, what have I been playing? I think we talked about when the past was around last week. Yeah, we talked about that last week. Okay, so mostly any little gains that I've gotten have been from Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I made a little more progress there. And I've been playing a game called Omega Strikers. I think I talked about that last week too, where it's just anime air hockey. It's still a fun game. I'm getting close to finishing it. I just have to, I believe, I have to level up my character like 4 more times. Is it 4 more times? 3 more times, maybe? 3 more times. No, 4. God, I can't keep my mind straight. You have to level up your character or your profile 5 times. I am, I believe, like right at the cusp of leveling up. Maybe like 1 game and I'll level up again. I have to get, I want to say like 6 more wins. And I have to hit the, let's call it a puck. I forget what they call it. But I have to hit the puck like maybe 200 more times. Maybe. Oh, they call it a core. So, not bad, not bad. It's a very fun game. I'm enjoying it. It's a good little, time passer. Little chill game in the meantime. Little grind, but nothing crazy. Hey, this is Ray from the Edit Bay. I forgot to mention... Let me stop touching the mic. I forgot to mention the significance of what I'm playing on screen. Should be Dead Rising 2 off the record. And the reason that I'm playing this is because, one, I like Dead Rising. But also, it kind of ties into the topic of the video, where Xbox games that were exclusive going multi-platform, because Dead Rising 1 wasn't exclusive for Xbox. I believe 2 went multi-plat. The one that I'm playing is off the record. That was multi-plat as well. Came back on the Xbox One for Dead Rising 3. I think that's always been exclusive. I don't think there's been a Dead Rising 3 port. But yeah, Dead Rising, one of my favorite zombie franchises. I love it. And also, I just finished my binge of the Walking Dead series, like the proper one. It really pulled out at the end. Season 10 was great, or season 10 was really good. Season 11 was a great finale. I had moments of tears while I was watching the final episode. And yeah, just want to throw that in here. That way it's not just like a random game. It has some significance. Usually all the games that I'm going to have on here as gameplay will have some sort of significance to the topic of the video. At least going forward, that's the plan. I think a few games have, but I think like Snake Pass was just a weird one-off. But Back to the video. All right, so two main topics. There really hasn't been too much news in the game industry other than this first topic. And then the second topic's, just a little fun addition that kind of brings it back full circle to achievements and trophies. But for those of you that have not heard, Xbox, the rumors are continuing to swirl about multi-platform, and now it's including bigger games, bigger franchises, things that you would not expect to come to rivaling platforms. There's rumors of Xbox backing out of the console space and so much going on. We've heard from Phil Spencer at this point saying essentially not really nothing, but also nothing, like a stay tuned. They're planning a meeting or an event, whatever that means, next week. I'm hoping it's like a video mixed with like a post on, I guess it's Xbox Wires where they usually do it, that kind of really outlines and dives into what's going on. I don't know if a video is enough, but I would want the video to be transparent enough where it could be enough. You know what I'm saying? So, let's dive into my thoughts, because that's why we're here. You want to hear my thoughts. I assume that's why you're here. Unless you just like my voice. So with the Xbox rumors, they started with releasing games like Hi-Fi Rush and what's the other one? Sea of Thieves onto other platforms. And at that time, I think I even said it on here. Fine, makes sense. Hi-Fi Rush, smaller game, but a very critically acclaimed. It's supposed to be a lot of fun. I still haven't touched it yet. I'm trying to get to it, guys. I swear. And Sea of Thieves is a not very old. Well, I guess in gaming time. It's like 6 or 7 years old at this point. Live servicey pirates game. An influx of players would really help out that community and, support the studio. I'm all for that. But then things started getting a little more crazy. The rumors came out that the upcoming Indiana Jones game, which is an Xbox exclusive, tentatively, I guess, would also be going multi-platform at a point. Okay, sort of, kind of makes sense, I guess. But then they kept getting bigger, and the rumors kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where there were claims made that the Gears of War franchise and even Halo would be going multi-platform. And this has caused an absolute meltdown. If you look at Twitter, if you look at Reddit, if you look anywhere that there's Xbox fans, complete and utter meltdown of people just freaking out, complaining that there's no reason to buy an Xbox. They feel betrayed, this, that, the other thing. And I don't really want to dive too much into all of that aspect, because I think people are really freaking out because we just don't know what's going on. Once we find out next week what's going on, then we can freak out. But until that point, I don't know how much there really is to be nervous about. I was admittedly not really. I was a little nervous for a little bit, but it's not for the same reason a lot of these people were, where they're complaining that there's no reason to buy an Xbox and just kind of surface level things like that. Because even if the exclusives are timed, like even a Gears of War and a Halo, which I don't believe those are going to PlayStation anytime soon. But what was I just saying? Oh, I completely lost where I was going with that. Let's see, people freaking out about Gears and Halo. Wow. Oh my God. God, the sleep deprivation's really getting to me. But, okay, I'm gonna try my best here. Did I cut all this, or do you see me ramble? Okay, so people freaking out about Gears and Halo going to the other console. There's no reason to buy an Xbox. Jeez. If the exclusives are the only thing holding you to the system, then yeah, I'd say go to PlayStation if that's really all you're interested in. For me personally, aside from the games that I've come to know and love, like Gears, like Halo, I just think Xbox has a far superior service to Sony in a lot of ways. Sony has a lot, and I love Sony. I love PlayStation. I love Xbox. Admittedly, like I had the 360 era, went to the Xbox One, so you can say I have a little bit of bias, which is fine. I'll accept that. But I genuinely think Xbox has a way better service, and Sony does take a lot of those great services that Xbox does and makes them their own. Let's start with the Xbox Live. Xbox Live has always been superior, or what it used to be Xbox Live, the online service, has always been superior to Sony's. In case you guys don't remember the PS3 days, the online was atrocious. It was terrible. it took my roommate in college a day and a half on decent internet. Like, I wasn't having a problem with my Xbox downloading games. Took him like a day and a half. That might be an exaggeration. It at least 5 hours to download the first episode of the Telltale Back to the Future game, which was insane to me. And that could be attributed to the fact that you always had to pay for the online. Like, they were able to take that money and reinvest it into the back end of the Xbox Live, the online services. So Xbox Live has always been better. Games with Gold, those fluctuate here and there. And, definitely when Game Pass came out, they weren't so great. And they adopted that. I believe Sony started doing that first. The free games a month with your online subscription. But Sony's backend, for example, is notoriously atrocious. It took them 10 years to get name changes right, and they still screwed that up. They screwed up, and I know it has to do with the architecture of the system. They just can't do backwards compatibility for PS3 games. Like, you have to stream them. Xbox, you can do Xbox One, or you can do, I guess at this point, on the Series X and S, you can do Xbox One, 360, and the Xbox original games that are available. The store front, I like a lot of things about Sony. Man, why can't I just gift games to my friend like I can on Xbox? Like, you just can't gift games? Crazy. And Game Pass, for example. Sony didn't want to do it. They saw the success, or at the time, the success of Game Pass. And now they have the new PS Plus. Achievements and trophies. I saw a couple posts on Reddit recently where people were surprised that some games didn't have trophies on the PS3. That's because Sony didn't have them. They saw the success and the fun nature of achievement hunting. They brought it over to their system with the Platinum Trophy and the trophies in general. And it's been a big success for them. Some would say it's better than achievements. It's really apples and oranges. Well, not really. They're the same thing. But there's pros and cons to both. I think I already talked about that in an earlier episode. And yeah, I just like the Xbox ecosystem better personally. Sony's still great. I love their games. But I just prefer a lot of the Xbox services. That was a little bit of a tangent there. God, let's get it back. Let's get it back to the. Let's talk about what I hope from the meeting. So the first thing that needs to happen at this business event, they need to be clear, like crystal clear, like stupid transparent about what the messaging is for the multiplayer. No, what's multiplayer? Oh, my thing screwed up. They need to be clear. Stupid typos. They need to be clear about what the messaging is regarding what's a multiplat and what's not. What I really feel like they're going to end up doing is they're going to have a tiered system, and I don't know how that'll, what's jive? I don't know what the other word. How that'll jive. Stupid old words. How that will jive with the studios. But I think for the most part, some of the studios will be okay with it. Where you have your Xbox core at the center of your circle, right? And those are things like Gears and Halo and Forza and new IP with maybe some more Xbox mascots to come. I think those will all remain exclusive to the Xbox platform. I think then from there you go out a little bit. Then you have games. Don't you dim on me, phone. I need to see. Then you'll have the games made by like Bethesda, where it can be optional, I guess. It's really up to the dev discretion, I suppose, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe they just have a 2-tier system. But I think outside of that core of the legacy properties and the new mascots they want to create, new IP, everything like that, I think you will see everything else be a case-by-case multi-platform decision. Oh, Jesus. What a burp. So you'll have things like Starfield. I know it's an Xbox exclusive right now. I could see that going multi-platform. Your Elden Rings, your Elder Scrolls, your Fallouts. Wolfenstein, I could see going either way. Minecraft will definitely be, even though I feel like that's at this point a core Xbox title, that will be multi-plat because there's just such a big audience that is used to having these games. It'd be crazy, especially after these huge acquisitions, to not tap into those markets. And again, I don't think like your core Gears and Halo will be a part of that. But I believe things like Elder Scrolls, if I screw that up again, like your Elder Scrolls, your Fallouts, your games that have historically been on these other platforms. Call of Duty, for example, that's not going anywhere. That's a cash cow. If they spend $69 billion on ABK for Call of Duty and King and all that stuff, and they didn't keep Call of Duty multi-platform, that they would be the dumbest people alive. So I'm really hoping that we get an explanation as far as what's going on there. Additionally, I want a plan presented on what they have going forward. Like, what is their... 10 years is such a far jump. Like, just 5 years, maybe to the end of this cycle. Maybe give us some information about what they're planning for the next iteration of the Xbox platform. There's been rumors of a handheld, like a Vita, Nintendo handheld type system. That could be cool. What I would want from that, and this is also just rumor at this point, they haven't really announced that, but I think it was like data mined or it was in the FTC documents, the handheld. I would love for the handheld to be essentially a not DS. I do not want a dual screen. A Switch in a way where I can download, I don't know, a couple games onto the actual device and play them in an offline-ish setting, but also be able to cloud stream the games. So a better version of clearly a better version of what the Portal is, because it could work on its own, but very much in line with like a Switch. Just do not give me Joy-Cons. Joy-Cons are the worst controllers I've ever seen. I hate them so much. I don't have little baby fingers, and the little buttons hurt my thumbs, and I just don't like them. And plus, they have a lot of drift issues. And the last little bit of this section about the Xbox event party, whatever they're calling it, I don't know, is I want them to address a lot of this going on right now for them is probably, and I guess they don't have to address it if they don't feel it's the case, but I feel it's the case. This is a direct result of overpaying for ABK and the consolidation of that company and other companies that they've bought. Like the layoffs, which apparently weren't really a Microsoft thing, or some of them were, but a lot of that was planned ahead of time by ABK. Apparently they jumped up their employee base by like, I think I saw a report that said it was like 7,000 from the time that, or something like crazy, from the time that Microsoft was starting to try to buy them until the deal actually closed and they became a part of them. And then, they had all these people that were just brought on, not for no reason, but just recklessly, I would say. So I want them to at least address that the consolidation is on a pause, like they're not going to buy any more studios, at least not to that scale anymore. Not that I know if they could really, could, because the FTC is just trying to make another baseless case against them. And I would like them to address if the worst case scenario happens and they decide, hey, we're kind of done. We're going to take a step back. We're going to serve the market differently. I want them to address digital libraries, because I have a lot of digital games, even though I absolutely love physical media. Like I have bookshelves and bookshelves of books and Blu-rays and some video games. The fact of the matter is, like, especially with video games, we're going towards an all-digital future, and it sucks, and I hate it. Most of the games that I really love, I can't even get physically, which is not great. And most of the games I have physically are essentially just like unlock codes on the disc. The games aren't on the discs. And this whole rumor thing, that's the part that really sent me into a spiral, was the rumors of them kind of shutting down, because then I thought, well, if this is going to happen here, it could happen with Sony and any other, and I mean, that's just the nature of these types of industries. Like, things can go away, and I don't want them to. I like the big two, Nintendo being the third big three for me, but I like having them all in the market. It's comforting. It's what I've known for so long. I didn't really have consciousness during the Sega era, at least. I mean, I guess I did, but I didn't play Sega. I had Nintendos at that point. But I just want them to address that, hey, in the event that, like, worst case scenario, we have an option for you to maybe download your physical games in perpetuity. Without having to access our servers. The time invested on achievements for me personally is worrisome because at some point this is all going to go away. Everything always ends. Nothing's forever. But hopefully I'll be dead by that point. And I don't want my achievement list to go away. I guess I would imagine if that ever happened, I could just, download a sheet from like True Achievements or something saying, here's all your achievements. Like keep that as like a journal. That would suck, but that would, I guess, be my... Then I'll just go through my old age and be like, oh, remember when I got 10,000 kills in Gears 2? Oh, boy, little Jimmy. I really hope my kid doesn't name his son Jimmy. If he chooses to have a kid. Who knows? Bugs are everywhere. God. I think I hit my points. It was a little rambly. I'm feeling the pressure of the time clock on me because I have to go pick up Sammy from my mom soon. I got to go to McDonald's and I got to do a few chores before I leave and do so. So, I hate recording under these conditions, but this is where I feel like I can really just be as loud as I want because I'm not recording again while Sammy's sleeping. We all remember last week's episode. That was a nightmare. So, to summarize, Xbox rumors are flying around. I don't think every game's going to go multi-platform over to the PlayStation or Nintendo, but some will. I think they'll keep some exclusive. I want them to address the consolidation issues, digital libraries in the worst case scenario. And I just want them to give us a plan. I'd be shocked if they even try to announce another game during this thing. I really think that's not the point of this event. This event is just calm everyone down. I don't think it's as bad as some people are proclaiming it to be. I think it's going to be a very kind of in the middle, like, hey, our strategy has had to change after these acquisitions, after the marketplace changes, and just the state of where Game Pass is not meeting our expectations. And I think that's really going to be it. I don't think it's going to be anything super groundbreaking, but it could be some things that we're not used to. So we shall see this week. I don't know if they've actually given us like a date. But if they feel it's good news and they feel like they have a good presentation, I imagine it like maybe a Monday or Tuesday so they can get the news out and address any other questions. If it's not great news, I could see it being a Friday thing. And that would suck. So we'll see. We shall see. And I'll clearly talk about it on next week's episode. Now, the second topic of the show, second and last one, my friends, is I wanted to go over some achievement and trophy hunting tips and tricks. So I got some feedback from a couple Discords I'm in, and a lot of it was stuff that I was already going to put in here, but I'm glad they reiterated it. I'm gonna give you a couple that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's others that I'm missing. Mostly some that I either use or I'm just very much aware of. And I'm going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And the first one is one that I've done a lot, and I think I've talked about it on here. I've definitely posted about it on various social media platforms. My son has seen me do it. Double boxing. If you got the means, double box away. And what double boxing is you have 2 Xboxes, ideally 2 TVs or monitors to work with, 2 accounts, and you basically, instead of with a buddy, you just boost games by yourself. I did that with Unreal Tournament 3 for a little while. My plan is to do it with GTA 4 soon. There's a bunch of games you can double box, and it's a lot easier nowadays with the license sharing, how that works, where I just sign in on one Xbox, but keep the other Xbox as my home, so it still has access to all my things. And it's a oddly soothing thing to double box and just feel like you're doing things very efficiently instead of having to work with another person. Because really it cuts down on the time that you need to do it because you're doing it by yourself and you don't care about that second profile. Amanda's profile is just a mess of incomplete games. So I use hers for that. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a solid 8 because it works real good, but it's not a cheap method by any means. So, yeah, I enjoy double boxing. I like doing it. Amanda's making me get rid of one of my TVs today, which sucks because that means double boxing is going to get a lot more difficult. Honestly, maybe I'll just buy like a computer monitor so I can have dual screen set up at home at some point, and I can use that monitor to double box. You know what I mean? So, although TVs are generally cheaper than some monitors, I'm workshopping it. We'll see. It's my birthday soon, so maybe I'll just go and get one. I don't know. I could put it on the top of this desk here. Have a double monitor. Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah, but then where would the light? The white light could go there next to my Swiss Army flag. I'm just thinking about things out loud. Anyway, the next one, save scumming, where you basically abuse save systems. You can do it on PlayStation pretty easily. I think it's a lot easier than on Xbox. Where I've only done it a few times. And actually, I really regret kind of doing it with this game. I used it for Bloodborne because I was trying to burn through it. Even though I love that game, I didn't want to do 3 separate playthroughs. So, I did it there. I kind of regret it because I love playing that game. I would probably have gone back and done the other 2 playthroughs by this point, maybe. But again, there's just so many games I want to get through that I was just like, if I can do this here and save like, I don't even know, 30 hours maybe, that's kind of a real good incentive to save scum. But basically, you just you make local saves, or you save them on like flash drives, or you disconnect the online save, and then you just boot up the version of the save you want. I don't discredit anyone from using it. It's a good time saver for some of these games that make you do different endings. I'm sure I've done it with like chapter selects and everything. But save scumming, I would give like I'll give it a 7, just because I'm not a huge fan of doing it, even though I've done it. But I very much understand the appeal of doing so. Let's drink some Arnie Palmers. What's next? Debug menus. I've used them for 2 games. Maybe 2 games? I think it's only been 2. And one of which was Conan Exiles, and the other was Subnautica. No, 3 games. Ark Survival Evolved. But basically, debug menus are I don't know if you can do it on PlayStation. On Xbox with some games, you can, especially if you have a PC, that helps sometimes too. You can go into debug menus, and at least in the case of like Ark and Subnautica, and I think Conan as well, with collectibles, you can just enter in a series of code into the debug menu, and you can just teleport to like a collectible. And Conan, for example, I believe I did that one with a debug menu because it was like a free play weekend, and I was really jonesing for some achievements, and I just hopped in there, and I got it done fairly quickly. Then Conan Exiles eventually did DLC, so now I don't have 100% anymore. But that's why I did Conan. Subnautica, I believe it was leaving Game Pass. It was with the debug menus. It's a very easy completion. They always are. So I did it there too. Subnautica, gorgeous game. I really like it, but it's really not for me. I just wanted some sweet achievements, get my fix real quick. You know what I'm saying? And I believe it was leaving Game Pass at the time. So I wanted to just get that real quick, maximize my return on Game Pass investment. Then we have Ark Survival Evolved. And at the time, I bought the game in preview. A bunch of my buddies were playing it, or wanted to play it. It was like $40 in preview. I'm like, okay, looks like fun. Got in that game. I hated that game. I do not really like that style of game. If it's for you, perfect. But I think at the time, it was always I don't think there were private servers. So it was that thing where like I go in, build something, I'll come in the next day, some jagaloons come along and just destroyed everything I've worked so hard for. And I don't like that. And I wasn't a fan of the gameplay. It is a complex game. It's just not for me. It's the complexities of it. I didn't I saw people with guns on T-Rexes, and that's super endgame stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have the resources to build a gun. I'm not Roger and American Dad, or I put 2 sticks of gum together and some Twiggies and a couple leaves and I get an AK-47. I'm not that guy. So, Ark was not for me. But I owned it. That was the other thing. I owned the game. So, if I own it, I'm going to achievement hunt in it how I feel. And I debug menued it. So, no shame in that one. No shame at all. As far as debug menus, I'm going to give it like a 5. I don't really like doing them. There's plenty of other games I've played where I could have, but I didn't want to use them. I don't know. It kind of feels like let's bump it down to a 4. I'm just not a fan. Maybe a 3. I'm just not a fan. I think it kind of robs me of actually playing the game if I'm really into it. I mean, luckily the games that I've done it on I haven't really been into, but just not for me. All right, second to last. Wow, I'm shouting a little bit. Sorry. The joys of not having anyone home. The second to last tip that I pulled together from my resources and my memories is to convince your college roommate that they would also like achievement hunting, Eric. And I don't think he was super into it for a little bit when we lived together. Once we stopped living together, he kind of fell off. And I get it. It's not for everybody. God, I used and abused him for some games. Let me tell you. Star Trek, the movie tie-in video game, he hated. I actually thought it was pretty fun. But we co-opted that shiz, and I had fun with it, and I think he had fun with it at the time, but he didn't finish it, and he's never going to finish it. He does not like that game. But I thought it was a fun little game. I enjoyed it. We did I think we did like some Rainbow Six Vegas. We did so many games because when we lived together, we had when it was just me and him, we had a buddy Dan that we lived with, but he mostly hung out upstairs because he was a nerd and played on his PC that he had hooked up to his TV. But me and Eric, we got big like folding tables from like a Lowe's or a Home Depot, and we set them up in the corner, and we had super ultra mega desk with 2 TVs. And by the end of the time living in that apartment, we had 2 360s. We had 2 Xbox Ones. It was awesome. We were gaming a lot. It really helped that Amanda lived on the other side of campus. So, and she was an RA at the time, so she couldn't really stay over a lot. Man, we had a lot of late nights. Oh, so much fun. I loved living in that apartment, even though I flooded it one time. That was disgusting. That's a story for another time. Honestly, looking back to the time in that apartment, like, man, I didn't have a job till like midway through that summer. And is that classic thing where I just had the TV in the living room. I had some furniture because my grandma gave it to me, like couches, but it was just me on a makeshift table with the TV and the Xbox, and just especially when she was home because I lived at campus year round. It was just day in, day out of just wake up, play games till I go to sleep type of deal. It was crazy. It was so much fun. Lonely for sure. But if I could go back, that would be a fun moment to visit. As far as that one goes, I give that a 10 out of 10 because if you can get your buddy even slightly invested in achievement hunting with you and you live together and you can like side by side co-op that shit, that's a 10 out of 10 experience. We had so much fun. That was when I put Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2. If you had the PlayStation, or not PlayStation, well maybe was it on PlayStation? I think it was on PlayStation also. But if you had the Xbox iCam or whatever, it was a little like webcam essentially. You could digitally put your face on your soldier, and I still have it, and I'll show you a picture right here. And it's one of my favorite features in games they just don't do anymore. I made a terrifying face where I do like a big smile where I like really open my mouth and do like a big smile, and I try to capture it, and it just cut off my lower jaw, so it just looks like I'm like a monster, like half my lower face is all red because it's just my mouth. But I just have a goofy face in that game, and it's literally one of my favorite things ever about gaming. So good. But yeah, that method, 10 out of 10, baby. Absolutely. I'm really hoping I can replicate it when Sammy's a little older and we can have a little game room where we just have like our battle stations and it's just like, all right, buddy, what achievements we going for this weekend? And then we go for them. And that's the dream. I'm willing to bet he's not going to like achievement hunting, and that really sucks for me. He's just, oh, Dad, look at all these games that they made from Fortnite. Ha, 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 ha. I do enjoy Fortnite. That could be a fun one to co-op with him when he's older. Wow, 35 minutes, shit. All right, and the last method. This method's a 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. Don't ever do it. Your stats on your site will not be tracked, unlike a True Achievements or a PSN Profiles. I think they will like disable that. You can just go on eBay and pay for some guy to unlock them with like mods and stuff. You could do that, Gary. 0 out of 10. Don't do it, Gary. It's just like I know Gary regrets doing it. I would regret doing it too. I honestly, it's similar to, and a little caveat to this because it's in the same vein. Having your friends get your achievements and trophies for you, or honestly random strangers you just asking about. I've seen some posts about that. I don't get it. I don't really get it, Gary. I don't understand. Not so much. I really don't understand the paying for it. I just don't understand why you would have someone else get your achievements, because then it's like, all right, yeah, I got Gears of War 2 completed, Jimmy, but my buddy got me the last achievement. So it's like, yeah, you completed it, but there's a huge asterisk on that. The only time that, that's, in my mind, okay, is if you're just playing with your friends and they accidentally pop an achievement for you. Like, all right, no harm, no foul. Like that, you were having a gaming experience. But if you're like, hey man, can you just come over and get this achievement for me? Like, I knew so many kids in high school where they just had one of my friends just come over and unlock the Mile High Club for them. And I'm like, I guess I get it. Like, if the OCD's that bad, but I wouldn't do that. I want to have earned it in any of the legitimate ways that we've already talked about. Like, I want to earn it. And I use it as kind of like achievements and trophies. Really is kind of like a journal of like my gaming journey. Like, if I were to go back and look at all of my achievements, starting at the beginning of, you have to look at like, I guess it goes by dates now, which kind of sucks. Like, not when you started the game, but whenever you last booted up a game, it reprioritizes it. But it's, I look at some of my older games like, wow, I can remember playing things like, I'm trying to think back to like what my earliest achievements are right now. Naruto Rise of a Ninja. I remember playing that game. I loved it. Quake 3, I think I got it for like stupid cheap, and the achievements are damn near impossible, very hard to do. But then I can remember my buddy got a 360 and it came with the combo disc of Indiana Jones, Lego, and Kung Fu Panda, and I borrowed that from him. And I remember getting those completions. I was like, wow, this is a fun hobby. Halo 3. I ended up completing it after the fact, but all through high school, that was our game. Gears of War 2. So many late nights when I should have done homework to better my future. Just playing Gears of War 2, going for Horde mode. I still contest that Gears 2 Horde mode's the best Horde mode. Fight me on it. I'll die on the hill. I loved when it was just simply survive. And oh boy, did we play on security a lot because of those lasers. But using the achievements as a journal of your progress. And then like I can see when I was in college too, because I played as a broke college kid, even though daddy sent me money whenever I asked, but I felt a little guilty about it. I had that self-awareness. Like just 50-point games that involved the Kinect and some smaller games and just like cheap games. And then from my time working at GameStop, I could see like, oh, I borrow, because you can borrow games when you work at GameStop, or you used to be able to. You can borrow games. And honestly, if you get an opened copy of a new game, there's a good chance that someone played it. I did that with Battlefront. Sorry, whoever picked up that game. But yeah, you can borrow games from there. And there were a lot of games I borrowed, like, what was it? Deadpool. I think I borrowed both versions of Deadpool at one point. While working at GameStop, someone traded in MLB 06, the one with Jeter on the cover, like those first string of sports games on the 360 where the achievements are stupid easy because they didn't know the process yet or what could be done. I snatched that game up so quick. Like, I didn't even let that game hit the shelf. Like, the guy traded in, I go to my buddy or my boss at the time, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy this, like, at the end of my shift. Like, can we just not, like, it's in the system, but can we just not, you know? He was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, I'll take your $20, kid. So, yeah, especially on, like, eBay, don't give people your credit card information to hop onto your account and then mod an achievement or trophy for you. Gary. That's a 0 out of 10 right there. Yeah, don't do that. Oh, also with the debug menus, I was just thinking about this when we brought up Halo. I guess some of the Xbox Games for Windows Live games, way back in the day, you could just literally go in and just... It was like not a setting, but I think it was like in the system files, you could just change the... I don't know the exact science to it because I never did it, but I think it was like you boot up the Games for Windows Live game, like you have it installed, and in the computer, you could go to the files that were the achievements, and I think you could just like change the name from locked to unlocked, and it would pop all the achievements for you. That I don't know how I feel. Generally, my thought process with all of these types of guides are, oh, I missed one. Turbo controllers. It's where you buy a controller, and I guess you can input like certain button prompts, so it can just repeat them over and over, so you could just not have to worry about a game, like set it down for a while, and it would still repeat the action. Like for like a Darksiders 1, where you had to like roam around in a circle for like 10 kilometers or something. You could just like program it to just run you in a circle. That's like a 5 out of 5. I don't really care for that. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Generally, if you're not like breaking the game or having other people do it for you, as long as it's something that in some form or fashion the developers allow you to do, such as save scumming, double boxing, to an extent debug menus. I missed another one too. I'll come back to this because it's a here or there. But yeah, as long as you use methods that the developers kind of allow you to do and don't require you to break the game, mod the game, anything like that, I'm generally okay with it. God, I was going all over my list here. The last one, and I give this like a solid 8 out of 10. Using guides. Use them if you want to. Like, I use guides all the time. Video guides, text guides. Some achievements are tough. Some games, especially if they got missables. Oh boy, missables suck if you can't go back to certain sections. There's sites like True Achievements and I want to say it's PSN Profiles where they will list out what is the missable achievements. That's usually the only section I really pay attention to, is what's missable, what requires like a lot of planning, especially at this stage in life where I've got Sammy. I don't want to have to like get through a game and it's like, oh, no chapter select. You missed these collectibles. Sorry, buddy. You're going to need another playthrough. Last of Us is a good example for that. That's a tough one because I don't want to be spoiled by the game. I really haven't played Last of Us. I think I got up to the part where you and Ellie are kind of walking around. And I know the story because I never thought I'd get a PlayStation and have access to it. So I know the story. But I just don't want to spoil myself, I guess. I want to still experience it firsthand. So, yeah, you use your guides. I mostly just check if there's missables, multiple playthroughs, how difficult, and what the time's looking like. And usually I don't let that decide if I'm going to play a game, but it definitely dictates how I'm going to play a game. Like, great example. I'm not really playing it now. GTA 5. There's a couple missable achievements in there. Spoilers for a decade-old game at this point. If you get to the end of the game, you have an option to kill a couple characters, like your main characters. If you kill one of them, you can't access a good chunk of these missable trophies. Or achievements. So I really focus on getting missables out of the way. Multiplayer as well, because you never know when multiplayer is going to go down. And I use guides all the time. 8 out of 10 strategy. Would recommend. Yeah, just don't buy your trophies and achievements, Gary. You know what I mean, Gary? All right, Gary. You've taken enough abuse. You're already taking enough abuse in our fantasy league. That's not true. I think you're going to get some points with Banishers coming out. Speaking of Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden, that's my recommended game coming up. Made by Don't Nod. It looks cool. It looks pretty different than what they've done before with some actual combat. Actually, I can't really say that for sure because I haven't played Vampire. I think I have it on PlayStation from like PS Plus, but Banishers, you're like ghost hunters with your wife, and in the trailer, your wife dies, and I guess you have to kind of grapple with your job as essentially a fantasy Ghostbuster, where you've taken an oath like that the living live and the dead should be dead. I think that's like the tagline of the game and their motto. And your wife dies, and I think you have to have a very like conflicted time as the character. Like, hey, the dead should be dead, but my wife is here, and I guess he loves her. I don't know. Does anyone love their spouse? So yeah, it looks really good. The combat looks pretty fun. Definitely a departure from what I'm used to with Don't Nod, where it's mostly like Life is Strange, Tell Me Why, very story-driven games. I think some of those elements are going to creep in here as well. You're going to have some of those moments too. But yeah, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden also comes out on my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Can't wait. I should probably finish Suicide Squad, or try to, before that game comes out. But it's my birthday. I think I'll let it slide. Amanda got me. She told me no gift cards I'm allowed to buy. I don't know when I really buy gift cards. No books, no movies, no games am I allowed to buy until after my birthday. And I've been a good boy this year. I haven't really done that. I think I just bought the one game. I did buy a gift card as a buy-in for my fantasy league. Update on that. No one's really progressed anywhere. Helldivers is about to get counted. Gary has Helldivers, I believe, so we'll see where that leads. And Suicide Squad went down to negative 10 points. So Amanda, suck it. Last place for you in the league. Banishers I actually have in my league with Amanda, so I'm excited for that game to come out. I tried. Can you believe Gary wouldn't give me Banishers for my birthday? Like, I was going to trade him the Sandland game. They're about the same point value projected. What a bully. I even put birthday gift for me, you know? So yeah, where was I? Yeah, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. Keep an eye out for that. It comes out real soon. And the recommended game, I don't think I've recommended this, but since I was just talking about a Don't Nod game, Life is Strange, the first one. Before the Storm's good too. Life is Strange 2 gets a little, I get it, it's a little too, the politics and everything a little on the nose. And I haven't played True Colors, even though, hey, that's really good. But the first Life is Strange, my God. That was, I believe that was the first game I've ever played that legitimately broke me down to tears. Like, there's a sequence in there, and I don't want to spoil it because it's a great sequence. For those that don't know, you're playing as a young girl at I think it's a college, I believe, in like the Pacific Northwest of America. For some reason, as I've said on here, some reason I want to live in a little town like that. But you live in the Pacific Northwest, you go to like I want to say it's like a college for like the arts, or maybe it's a high school. I don't know. I can't remember. It's a high school because I think max is not 18. But so you go to this high school, like private school, for like, there's regular classes, but there seems to be like a focus on like the arts. So you play as this young girl, Max, and you discover, after witnessing a murder, you discover you have time rewinding abilities, and there's an impending disaster that's going to befall the town and basically wipe everyone out. You run into your old friend, Chloe. I almost forgot her name. Chloe, and shenanigans ensue. It takes a weird turn with like a serial killer who's been abducting teenage ladies. And God, I was really bummed. I tried showing Amanda it because I figured that would get her. Ugh, burpees. I figured that would get her into games. She called who the killer was immediately. And I was a little bummed by it because I don't want to sit there and be like, I don't know. Maybe not. But I mean, in retrospect, it's kind of obvious. But Life is Strange, there's a moment where you go back in time and you change some things that you think for the better, and there are some things asked of you, and then you have to make really tough choices. Legitimately broke me down to like sobbing in my apartment at like, I don't even know, maybe like 10:30 at night one night, sobbing, just destroyed, all by my lonesome in the dark. No one there to take care of me but my dog licking my tears. It was incredible. And then I think the second game that made me cry was actually another story-driven game, Minecraft Story Mode Season 1. Yeah, there's a moment in there that kind of made me cry as a pet owner. God, I've been recording for a while. But yeah, Life is Strange, it's not a hard game to complete. I would look up like a Maka's guide if you go for it. For, I believe, the only real missables in there, and definitely check a guide to be sure, but I think it's just like the collectibles, which are like taking pictures of certain scenarios. Some things you have to set up to take the picture, others are just kind of like collectibles proper. You know what I mean? So, definitely recommend Life is Strange. So good. I think I've played it like 3 or 4 times in different iterations, like 360, Xbox One. I think they did another Xbox version at some point. I did the PS4 version. Love that game. But I think I burned myself out on it when I did the PS4 version. I don't know if I could do it again. But maybe I will. Who knows? I like revisiting the game. If I can re-get achievements and add it to my profile or trophies too, I'll do it if it's good enough. Nah. Just right at the end here. I guess, nope, not even going to worry about it. Not even going to worry about it. Maybe I will. Stacking achievements. Do it if you want. I don't care. 6 out of 10 if you like the game. It's where you just play multiple versions of the games, which I just said I do. And that will, oh, yeah. So, yeah. Recommend Life is Strange. Keep an eye out for Ghosts of New Eden. But Banishers, that's the game. And with that, this elongated episode of Platinum Achievements comes to a close. I really hope the Xbox rumor stuff was coherent. I tried to be, but again, I got a little excited. And I feel like I need a co-host to keep me in line on these shows, but that would drastically extend the time of the show. But honestly, the time would go a lot quicker. If you listen to Tri-State Pop with me and my buddy James, not the Jimmy I was talking about earlier, those episodes fly by when we record them. It's crazy to think that we get an hour out of them basically every time. But yeah, the episode's coming to a close of Platinum Achievements. I think this is what, episode 6, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, episode 6, because we did 4 in January. Yep, 6. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate all the feedback everyone's been giving me. Give the video a like, share with a game friend that's your buddy. And let me know down in the comments. Oh, geez, what are we going to talk about? Just let me know if you're excited for Life is Strange, or not Life is Strange. If you played Life is Strange, what you think about it, and if you're excited for Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden. If you feel like ringing that bell, do that too. And hey, give me a subscribe if you don't mind. We've been gaining a lot of new subscribers over here, and by we I mean me, because it's just me over here, and I appreciate all of you doing so. Gives me a little dopamine rush seeing that number go up. But as always, thanks for watching, and keep on hunting, boys and girls. Bye. Now let's go to McDonald's and pick up some breakfast for the family and the Sam.